Okay, this is Jenney's first year Latin, chapter 27. We're discussing third conjugation. I'm putting up the board. I also need you to look at page 123. And third conjugation, the vowel that you will see a lot is E or I in the indicative. The present you will see is O, I, S, I, T, I, M, U, S, I, T, U, N. ITIS or UNT. The imperfect has EVA, then the endings. Alright, this is where it gets a lot more complicated. The future in first or second conjugation has BO or BA, and so you'd have bo, bis, bit. But in future tense and third conjugation is AM, ES, EMUS, ETIS, and then ENT. So I'm going to leave that up for you to copy while I discuss it some more. And the imperative singular ends in E, and then the plural ends in ITE. And that's a summary of how the endings look. On page 123, there's an example with rego, regery, rexy, and then so it says the present is rego, regis, regit, regimus, regent, regunt. And then the imperfect is regabom, regabas, regabot, regabomus, regabontis, regabont. And rego means rule, so that'd be I was ruling, you were ruling, he was ruling, etc. And then the future would be regam, you shall rule, reges, you will rule, reget, he will rule, regemis, we shall rule. And that gives you the picture by looking at these endings I have on the board and the example on page 123. I know this one is a little bit more complicated than the stuff we've had in the past. And feel free to call me and ask questions. Don't feel afraid to do that, because I know the future is more confusing, especially with the different endings, with not having BO as the indicative to show that that's future. Instead, you have the A, M, and the ES, and the ET, and the EMUS, ETIS, ENT. So look at what I have on the board, write it down in your notes, and look at page 123. If you have any questions, call me. So I'm going to put that down. And the perfect system is not on this board because it's just like any other perfect. You take the stem and then you add the endings, like any other conjugation. And that's on page 124. They show you examples of that. Alright, apposition. A noun used to describe another noun is said to be in apposition with it, and it must refer to the same person or thing as the noun or pronoun to which it applies. So it will be in the same case as the noun it's talking about. So the girl loves her brother Marcus. Both her brother's a direct object, so Marcus is the direct object. They'll both be an accusative. So you look on page 124, Puella, Frochum, Marcum. They're both accusative. So if you have any questions about that, also call me about that. So we're going to look at the vocabulary. And we have ago, augury, eggy, octum. These are some new verbs. They're third conjugation verbs that you're going to learn how to conjugate. And we'll probably, if we have time, take one of these verbs and conjugate them and see if you can get a better feel on how to do that. So then the next verb is kogo. This is page 124, by the way. Kogo, kogri, coegi, coactum, collect, compel. Defendo, defendere, defendi, defensum, defend. Now, defend is also a derivative. Duco, ducery, duxy, ductum, lead. The present active imperative of duco is duke. Now that's irregular, so that's why they're telling you. Guerro, guerreri, gessi, gestum, bear, carry on, wear, wage. Mitto, mitteri, missi, missum, send, let go. Pono, poneri, posere, positum, put, place. Rego, Gregory, Rexy, Rectum, rule. Relincro, Relinctory, Relicti, Relictum. Surgo, Sugri, Surgery, Surrexy, Surrectum. Rise, stand up. Trado, Troddery, Tradidi, Traditum, hand over, surrender. And trade will be a derivative. Rinko, Wickery, Wiki, Wictum. Remember, the V's are pronounced like W's, and the C's are always pronounced hard, kind of like K. So it's Winko, Winkery, Wiki, Wictum, conquer, defeat. Kogo, there are two distinct meanings of Kogo. Kogo, together, to drive together is to collect, or to drive forcibly, compel. So it can either mean collect or compel. So I am going to erase the board. You know how that takes, so bear with me. And you can turn back over to 123 and look at it while we take one of these verbs that is not used, because virgo was already conjugated, and we'll use a different one and conjugate that for an example. And we're just going to do the present and the imperfect in the future, since those are the irregular ones. Let me write it down, since we still have time. Sorry. So I am going to do pono, poneri, poseri, positum in the present, imperfect, future, oh, and one more, imperative. I didn't use duco because that was irregular, so we're going to do, so we take from the second principal part, which is the infinitive. Poneri means to put place, so we take that, and of course the very first one is pono, and remember it's going to be I in it, so it's ponis, ponit, ponimus, ponitus. This isn't very interactive, or I'd be asking you questions. Ponat. Pono, ponis, ponit, ponimus, ponitus, ponat. Alright. Remember, with the imperfect, you have the E and then the BA. Then you add the endings. What are the endings? M, S, T, MUS, TIS, and T. So that's what we'll do. PONE, BA, then the endings. That's what I'm doing. just got a text, but I'm ignoring it because you need to learn this. Because te amo. You should know that from Spanish as well. And here we go. So we have Ponabon, Ponabas, Ponabat, Ponabamas, Ponabatas, Ponabans. So that I was placing, you were placing, he was placing. I do it all, but I want to make sure I have time to do this because I have to do this under 15 minutes for YouTube. So then the next ones are A-M-E-S. Remember from the board? So I'm going to write those down. A-M-E-S-E-T, E-M-U-S, E-T-I-S, and E-N-T. So that's I shall place, you will place, and that's the future. Okay, what about the imperative? Do you remember? If you don't, you turn to page 124. And remember, it ends in E for the singular and I-T-E for the plural. So that's pone and ponete. And if you need this example, you pause, you look at it. I'm running out of time, so pause it, write it down. Make sure you have the endings right. Remember, it's A-M-E-S, E-T, E-M-U-S, E-T-I-S, E-N-T for the future. All right, for the story about the kings of Rome, it's continued from the last chapter. You need to read that, learn the history of it, do the odds for the exercises. I'll talk to you and read the story with you tomorrow on the phone. And for now, voila.